folks, and again, welcome to Podfest 2024 with Soaring Prophets. I'm Patrick, as always, co-host James, and we have a fantastic guest all the way from
Cleveland, Ohio.
So we know that she was going to be a celebrity before we even got started here. We have Christine Boyle, and your podcast is what?
Invited In with Christine Boyle, where disability and faith meet.
So there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. Disability and faith.
Yes.
How did you get into that space? What was your kind of preface going into it, and maybe some life experiences that have brought you there?
Okay, well, I am a special needs mom. Two kids with disabilities. My daughter, Courtney, went home to Jesus 2 years ago. I started my disability journey when I was 18 years old. Found out I was pregnant a week before leaving for college. Went to an abortion clinic thinking that was my only answer. Met Christ in that abortion clinic. Saved my daughter's life. Saved my soul. Gave my life to Christ. And months later, gave birth to her. Had no idea she was going to be born with disabilities. And definitely in a period of life where I was hopeless, confused, had no idea how anything good could come from being a teen mom, living on welfare, having this child with a disability, being single, alone. And God redeemed it. Brought me an amazing husband. Fast forward a handful of years, go to El Salvador on a missions trip, meet a little boy that has disabilities. And as much as I said no to God, he was like, no, you're going to adopt this little boy. And so my husband and I started the process to adopt our son, Kevin. Took us 4 years to get him. He came home to us as an 18-pound 9-year-old, like silly 9 years old wearing 12-month-old baby clothes. Yeah. And we've just seen God just restore his life, his little body. I work in disability ministry with teenagers with disabilities. Just spend time with them. My house is always full with kids with disabilities, just pouring into their lives, loving them and investing in them. And then, cool story, because you said you're a runner. So many years ago, probably 2016, my husband would push our daughter. This is obviously when she was alive. He would push our daughter in races, half marathons. So we did like Cleveland, Columbus. We knew that, all the big cities would allow push duos, but Disney wouldn't allow it. They had a no mobility aid policy. Disney, yes.
Disney.
And my husband, because special needs parents do not take no for an answer.
No, they don't.
My husband said, oh no. And he got the U.S. Track and Field Federation involved, got Disney to change their policy. It made national news.
Wow.
And now at any Disney marathon weekend, half marathon weekend, there's push duos, and it's because of my daughter. And he pushed her over 100 miles at Disney before
These
she
are the
passed away.
powerhouses that we're meeting here.
Yes.
Teen mom, faced with a daughter that has disability, sadness, hard to overcome, finds Christ. We are big believers in Christ. Awesome. Christ saves all. It's good. And she overcame.
We actually kind of, even digging more into this, is that we just happened to be setting up our camera here, and she was sitting in the chair beside us. Like, this was meant to be today. Like, we just happened to find Christine.
We just happened to be standing beside her, we engaged, and here she is.
Testament and story that you live, and you beam. Like, I don't know if the camera is picking this up here. This woman has like a permanent smile affixed to her face.
Non-stop.
When she talks about her family and friends.
And it's super interesting, because you don't know this, but I'm in the autism space. I work with a lot of autistic kids. I've helped people with cerebral palsy and a whole bunch of stuff. And the hardest barrier was the parents struggled with having the knowledge, having the know-how, how to deal with it. But they did never struggled with the power to learn it, to find it, to do it.
Absolutely.
Ever. Every mom, mostly moms, every mom I met, if their kid needed something, it was happening. And they would go through the 6'3" guy, and it's going to happen. It is amazing, and that's a testament to you and your husband.
Thank you.
Because, I agree with you. There's nothing. So I started when I was in high school, when I was in a school, I started special needs track and field. So they had regular track and field. So I brought the kids into it, and so at shot put, they were throwing frisbees. And at long jump, we turned them around so the sand was that way behind them, and then push, and we measure. So I love what you're doing. And I love that you're spreading that message, because that message is so important. These people are amazing. They're lovely. They have huge personalities. So what's next for you?
Well, so I've done 3 episodes of my podcast, and really just the first 3 have been just kind of introducing me, my story, why I feel like I have a voice in the disability community. Now I'll start to have guests on that, are making an impact in the disability community, and I just really want people to see who Christ is when things can be hard. And so as much as it's about disability and showing Jesus through that, I still think someone who has no personal connection to disability could still listen and relate and just be encouraged. And so that's my goal. And I think also for caregivers, like you're saying, I mean, it's hard and you need a community. You need to just be told you're doing a good job and keep going, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so that's my goal. I feel like I've 23 years of story after story, experience after experience, and I love to share, I love to encourage. So
mom and dad out there, you have a special needs child and you're struggling right now. What's the first thing they should do?
Ooh, wow, okay, that's a tough question. First thing they should do. Well, I'm going to say this. I couldn't have done this a minute without Jesus. I mean, truly, like, none of it makes sense without him.
Right.
And,
well, so that kind of leads me to a question here, and it's, again, James and I, when we were talking off the beginning here, is that, again, very faithful people. When you come into this space, in this environment, the secular environment, it's not always super well received.
Yeah.
When you start talking in certain ways, you get the eye roll, you get certain personas that come out.
Yeah.
Maybe you can speak a little about your testimony about this process for you, and are you seeing people that are just kind of shut down? Or do you see people that are totally engaged and are willing to have those conversations with you?
I would say I was in, like, when I was kind of brainstorming my podcast at a conference, I did have someone that when I said the word Jesus, she was like, I'd be checked out.
Right.
And yet I had other people who maybe aren't people of faith that just said, no, like, Christian podcasts are growing. They're huge. Yeah. And so she said, you just have to be true to who you are and not try to water it down. And here's the thing. My story is my story. And I just share that without fear because it's my story. And I know even if you want nothing to do with Jesus, like, you're going to listen to my story and you're going to go, wow. And I know that I've experienced that. And so I'm at a point in my life where I'm not really afraid to just share what God's done, and I love getting to. And so I really never have had anybody be like super rude or mean about it.
And it's such a powerful testimony. Like you're talking about 2 amazing topics that should invoke a very passionate response. So, Christine, first of all, I want to thank you so much.
Sure.
Again, this was the most random.
We literally walked up and bugged her. We came in her space. She's like, do you want me to move?
That's how this started. but this is what Podfest 2024 is sort of all about. You have these content creators that are all looking to help each other out, build that audience, and maybe you can shout out your page. How do they get in touch with you? Where are you're podcasting now, and what's that going to look like?
Sure. So I'm pretty much on all platforms. So again, Invited In with Christine Boyle, where disability and faith meet, and then ChristineBoyle.com is my website.
Make sure to check her out, folks. Check her out and get all the downloads, like, subscribe, and share. If you believe in the content, if you believe in her message, this is how she gets that traction to grow and continue doing this. That passion can live on. So from me, folks, from Podfest 2024, let's make some money together, guys.
This is the reason we share these stories. We want you to know that no matter where you're at this moment, no matter what sadness you're dealing with, you can rise above. This young lady has dealt with a lot of obstacles, and she has risen above. And look at that smile on her face. You can't get it off it. I just don't know what to say. She's like lighting up this room right now as we speak. You guys know I love you. Let's heal our minds, bodies, and souls together. Take care.